Good afternoon and welcome. This is lunchtime news on TV1 for the Newsfirst team. I'm Zama Ratnayaka. Today is the 25th of March 2021 and here are your headlines for this afternoon. No entity will be allowed to fell trees or destroy the environment, assures the President. Foreign Minister rejects the adoption of the UNHRC resolution. All Catholic schools in the Western Province to reopen on the 5th of April. India temporarily halts Oxford AstraZeneca vaccine exports. In our top story for this afternoon, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has stressed the government has not granted permission for any entity to fell trees or commit environmental destruction. The President made this statement at a meeting held in Nugegoda with the members of several organizations aligned with the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna.
Speaking at the event, the President added he has advised district secretaries to take swift action if environmental destruction is occurring on a district scale. It was further claimed during the meeting that the incumbent government had to resolve the complications which arose during the past government's tenure, including that of the East Container Terminal and the MCC agreement. The President has expressed his commitment towards carrying out his duties towards the people, regardless of the obstacles, adding a distinctive policy shift has occurred over the past 16 months. He also claimed the government believes the solution to the woes of the people is development.
It has been decided to reopen all Catholic schools in the Western Province on the 5th of April. Reverend Father Jude Krishantha, Media Director of the Archdiocese of Colombo, confirmed this to Newsfirst. The Ministry of Education has decided to reopen all schools in the Western Province on the 29th of March. Classes for grades 5, 11 and 13 in Western Province reopened on the 15th of this month. The Minister of Education, speaking to the media, said the New Year holidays will commence as scheduled and all schools will reopen on the 19th of April following the conclusion of the holidays. The opposition claims the government has contradicted its own promise of reducing costs by establishing ministries at expensive locations.
The ministry is being operated at the World Trade Center as at 15th January 2021. Office of the Minister of Tourism, Office of the State Minister of Batik, Handloom, Fabrics and Local Apparel Products, State Ministry of Rural and School Sports Infrastructure Promotion, State Ministry of Cane, Brass, Clay Furniture and Rural Industry Promotion, and the State Minister of Development of Aviation and Export Zones.
The
They leveled allegations against us for allocating high levels of costs. The best example for that is the building which used to house the Ministry of Agriculture. On certain social media, your faction has claimed the location of certain ministries will be changed. This is not the issue here. Regardless of whether the 19th or 20th Amendment is in effect, there are both state and cabinet ministers. The allocation is 40 and 30, 41 including the Speaker. Allocating funds for a 41st state minister would be in contravention of the Constitution. What sort of approval was given to the Treasury to allocate funds for these locations to be rented or leased? The government has attempted to minimize costs at every juncture. You would agree with me when I say new state ministries would also require office spaces to operate in. Those have been done following scrupulous review. Those have not been handed out haphazardly. The Constitution has only allowed for 40 state ministers. There are 41 in your government now. It is illegal based on financial regulations to allocate funds for the 41st. Which provision in the Constitution was used to allocate funds for the 41st? Based on the information I possess, there are only 40 state ministries. If there are more, please notify me in writing. I will look into it and present it to the President.
Today has been declared as a national day of mourning as the final rites of the Mahanayaka of the Sri Lanka Amarapura sect, Agama Pandita Most Venerable Kotukota Dhammavasa Thera, will be conducted with full state honours at the Independence Square in Colombo this evening.
The religious activities on the late Most Venerable Thera's mortal remains were conducted today at the Dharmapala Ramaya in Mount Lavinia. The mortal remains of the Most Venerable Thera will be placed at the Dharmapala Ramaya until 1:30 for the public to pay their final respects. Today has also been named a National Day of Mourning. Further, all taverns and meat shops in the Western Province have been closed to pay respect to the late Most Venerable Thera. The cortege, which will depart from the Dharmapala Ramaya in Mount Lavinia and travel through the Gaul Road passing Dehiwala, Vellavatta, Bambalapitiya, Tumula Junction, Thurston Road and arrive at the Independence Square by 3 p.m. Police have requested motorists to use alternative routes during the aforementioned time period to avoid traffic congestion.
The Satyagraha organized by the Valsapugala farmers entered its 68th day today.
The Valsapugala farmers are urging the government to gazette the proposed Wild Elephant Management Reserve as proposed to set aside sufficient forest area for the wild elephants to minimize the human-elephant conflict. 86 farm organizations led by the Valava Left Bank United Farmers Association have also joined the Satyagraha. Today marks the 10th day of the Satyagraha staged by the farmers in Galgamua. The Satyagraha was staged supporting the Satyagraha organized by farmers in Valsapugala. The Satyagraha organized by the farmers in Madavachi entered its 7th consecutive day today. Today is the 9th day of the Satyagraha organized by the farmers in Mahianganaya. The farmers there also staged the Satyagraha calling for a solution to the human-elephant conflict. These Satyagraha campaigns are organized by the All Ceylon Farmers Federation.
The villagers of Varakapula have been facing difficulties for many years due to the dilapidated condition of the Varakapula-Alamal-Denia road. Residents of the area allege that no construction work has been carried out on the Varakapula-Mahapallegama-Alamal-Denia road for nearly 15 years. This road, which is around 2 kilometers in length, is used by the residents of Alamal-Denia, Udagama, Atala, Malmadua, Kotiakumbura and several other villages. The residents of the area pointed out that although the road development work had commenced on several locations, it had been halted halfway. The road's dilapidated condition has also affected public transport services.
All this while, this road was maintained with our personal money and we can't afford to continue doing so. No official has looked into this matter. The villagers obtain vehicle licenses by paying money, but it goes to waste since this road is not maintained. Various politicians have given us only false promises to renovate this road. We do not need jobs or anything else. All we need is for this road to be constructed so our children can go to school and the elderly can be taken to the hospital in case of an emergency. We have no way to travel. The bus comes only halfway down this road. The children don't have a way to travel to and from school. The entire road gets flooded each time there is a heavy rainfall.
Villagers request the construction of this road to take place as soon as possible. In more news from Parliament, State Minister Dr. Nalaka Godaheva responded to a query raised by MP Anurakumara Disanayaka regarding the arcade shopping complex in Colombo being leased to a private company.
It was the Urban Development Authority that managed the shopping complex when it was established. Although a monthly revenue of 10 million was earned in 2014, starting from 2015, the revenue declined. It came down to less than 8.9 million. The biggest issue was that the shopping complex had more than 100 million rupees due to the Urban Development Authority when we came into power in 2019. 11 out of the 42 shops were closed. Taking these matters into consideration, the Board of Directors of the Urban Development Authority decided to hand over the complex to the private sector to earn better revenue. The procurement committee appointed by the Cabinet of Ministers made this decision via the proper procurement procedure. The annual rental of the building was estimated at 120 million by the government valuer. Although several entities had accepted the tenders, responding to a paper advertisement, it was Odale PLC and Abans PLC who had called for bids during the time allocated to all investors. After analysing the proposals, the technical committee chose Odale PLC for the next round as it had met all the criteria. This company was unanimously approved by the procurement committee as well. ප්‍රසම්පාදන කමිටුව විසිනුත් ඒකමතිකව අනුමත කොට තිබෙනවා.
Minister Dinesh Gunawardena made a statement in Parliament today regarding the new resolution adopted by the United Nations Human Rights Council on Sri Lanka at the recently concluded session. The minister also tabled the resolution and a list of countries that supported Sri Lanka when a vote was taken up on the matter at the UNHRC.
It is implicit from the voting result that a majority of the Council did not support the resolution. At this meeting, Sri Lanka, as a country concerned, reiterated its position on this resolution against the country and politically motivated process behind it. Honourable Speaker, Sri Lanka considers the draft resolution to be unwarranted, unjustified, and the violation of the relevant articles of the United Nations Charter, in particular Article 2, 7 and the relevant sections of the United Nations Resolution 60/251 that provides for the mandate of the Human Rights Council. For the above reasons, this resolution against Sri Lanka is illegal.
Certain members of the opposition claim that there could be economic repercussions because of this. They say that the economy could collapse. Minister Cabral is in the House with me today. The stock exchange performed well yesterday after some time. As a country, along with the President and the Prime Minister, we have always taken steps to repay the debt that we owe on time. The economy is progressing amidst these challenges. If there are MPs on the other side who want to see the country collapse, do not be happy about it. Let me remind you, when late Ranasinghe Premadasa was the President, when the British High Commissioner went to Devanura and inspected the election process and spoke about it, he was asked to leave the country immediately. We have never done such things when it comes to our diplomatic relations. We have always acted prudently. Not just the Foreign Ministry, but the entire government has acted with the experience that we have to protect the friendships that we enjoy.
The
leader of the House spoke about the resolution, but he did not read it out. I make a request from the Speaker and the members of the House to read the resolution.
I tabled all the motions.
This report is only 17.5 pages. There are only 2.5 pages about the war. 15 pages are about the democracy, the media freedom and the harassments against minorities since Gotabaya Rajapaksa came to power. The Human Rights Council was introduced to us in 1989 by the current Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. He was the one who went to the international community with a domestic problem.
Staying on the same topic now, up next are some of the views expressed in the political arena on the resolution passed by the core group on Sri Lanka at the 46th UNHRC sessions.
Dinesh
Gunawardena claims he is happy about this. So it is very evident as to why they are happy. They are clearly happy to go about using this at the provincial council elections, trying to intimidate people. The real question is, the 6.9 million who voted for the president are in dismay, but the government leaders are content. The rulers of this country fear Modi. The provincial council elections will be held in a rush, just as Modi and India wishes. Nevertheless, India did not vote for our motherland Sri Lanka at the UN Human Rights Council. Our leaders are just mollycoddling them regardlessly, and it is a shame. These foreign entities just want to exact revenge from the heroic humanitarian army that defeated terrorism they claimed that could not be defeated. We believe that 11 countries stand by us against this injustice. We can convince the independent nations to support us. India sided with Sri Lanka at the 2009 resolution with 29 votes in favour of us, even during the war. After that, these votes decreased gradually. Finally, it came down from 15 to 13 to 11. It is very clear that the decision in this resolution is not relevant to the period of the war. The Human Rights Council is still questioning the human rights violations that took place after the war. Countries have decided to vote against us or simply abstain from voting because they do not approve of our foreign policies. The Ministry of Sports has decided to provide a monthly nutrition allowance to 60 sportsmen and women engaged in 7 selected sports. The inaugural event was held yesterday under the patronage of Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs Namal Rajapaksa.
අපි performance based contract එකකට තමයි මේ රටේ හැම ක්‍රීඩකයෝම ක්‍රිකට් ක්‍රීඩාව ඇතුළු අපි ගිවිසුම් ගත කරන්නේ.
We enter into performance-based agreements with all sportsmen and women in the country, including cricketers. Our ambition is to win on a global scale and compete for world championships. All sportsmen and women who enter into agreements will be provided benefits. A sports personality bears a social responsibility which goes beyond the quantity of his allowances. The country's sports will be developed centering these 60 people. We intend to develop career sportsmen and women. Hence, their remuneration will match that of a regular sports personality. That is why, for the first time, we have introduced this nutrition allowance. We also believe players will act responsibly and provide an example to society.
සමාජයට ආදර්ශයක් විදියට තමන් කටයුතු කරයි කියන විශ්වාසය අපිට තියෙනවා.
And with that, it's a wrap of Lunchtime News on TV1. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Jamal Ratnayaka. Take care, stay safe, and have yourself a pleasant day.